Hi, I'm Tasha from One Big Happy Life on behalf of the Financial Diet, and this is the Lifestyle Fix brought to you by CuriosityStream. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing 5 life-changing things that I do every single morning. If I'm being completely honest, this year I haven't been doing all of these things that I'm about to talk about, and here's why. Earlier this year, I decided that I was ready to make the switch from practicing law to running One Big Happy Life full-time, and I also decided that I wasn't willing to take a pay cut, which meant that I had to grow One Big Happy Life into a multi-6-figure business this year. So what that meant was that I had to put in more hours into my business. Then add in 3 rounds of IVF and a new puppy on top of everything, and you can see why balance hasn't really been in my vocabulary for the past few months. During this time, several of the things that I'm going to be talking about in this video were pushed out to make room for time for me to work on my business and recovering from medical procedures. And I can tell you that I definitely felt the negative impact that skipping out on these things had on my life. So I'm even more aware than I've ever been before of just how important these things are to my physical and mental health and my overall quality of life. And while I can't say that I won't ever have periods of imbalance where I temporarily stop doing some of these things, I do know that from now on, I'm going to do my best to structure my life and my business in a way that allows me to have these practices as the base of my day. Number 1, I wake up early. I've been an early riser for most of my adult life. Part of that is because I've been a mom for most of my adult life. And any parent will tell you just how lucky you are if you have a young child that manages to sleep in much past 7 a.m. But I've also worked at jobs where my schedule had flexibility that allowed me to come in earlier than the typical 9 to 5. So for 7 out of the 8 years that I've been working after graduating from law school, I've always started my workday at 7 a.m. or earlier. You see, I love being able to start my day before everyone else. It means that I could use the bathroom and enjoy a cup of coffee without someone asking me for something. It also means that I can have a less hectic commute to work and then have the whole afternoon ahead of me at the end of the workday. So how did I make this happen? First, I prioritize having a flexible schedule when I'm job hunting. Whenever I'm in an interview, I always ask about work schedule and the availability of workplace flexibilities, like being able to work from home. The bottom line is that if an interviewer finds these questions odd, or if their answer is that they're a 9 to 5 put in your face time kind of place, then I know that it's not the right work environment for me and I'll pass on that position. Because of that, I've always worked at jobs that had some amount of flexibility, even when I worked in private practice at a law firm. And of course, now that I'm on the verge of being my own boss, I'll have even more control of my schedule and plan to continue waking up early to fit in the other things that I'll be talking about in this video. The second thing that makes it possible for me to wake up early is that I go to bed early. I aim to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night, and that means I'm typically in bed by 9 p.m. because I'm up at 4:30 a.m. in order to get to the office by 6:30 a.m. Whenever I say I wake up that early, people assume that I must not be getting enough sleep, but that's generally not the case. It just means that I have a corresponding early bedtime. And if you want to see what a typical day in my life looks like when I'm commuting to the office, I'll drop a link to a day in my life video that I did so you can check that out. Number 2, I kiss my family and tell them that I love them. Okay, this doesn't always happen before 7 a.m. because they're not always up that early, but this is an essential part of my morning ritual. My family is at the center of everything that I do, so I make sure to take time every single morning to show my family affection and to tell them that I love them. We also ask each other about how our sleep went and whether or not we had any interesting dreams. These small interactions in the morning help us focus in on something that we are all incredibly grateful for, how lucky we are to have each other and how much we love each other. I do this with both of my children and with my partner Joseph. In fact, this is often the first thing I do before I get out of bed. Even if Joseph isn't awake, I give him a little kiss before I get up. He's a deep sleeper, so he rarely wakes up. And if he is awake, we'll usually spend a few minutes snuggling before we get up. After the day gets going, we rarely get the chance to just focus in on each other and enjoying our relationship until the evening comes around again and the kids are in bed. So those morning moments are really special to us. Number 3, I journal. I love journaling first thing in the morning, particularly morning pages style journaling, which is a sort of stream of consciousness style journaling, more so than just chronicling what's going on in my life. These morning pages have become even more important now that that I'm an entrepreneur. Not only am I always looking for sources of inspiration and ideas to help me create all of the content and the products for the business, but it also gives me a place to do the inevitable mindset work that comes along with being an entrepreneur. I want to make sure that I'm finding new opportunities for growth and working on my own limiting beliefs that might be keeping me stuck. So, for example, I recently took the Enneagram and discovered that I'm an 8, a challenger. And one of the biggest weaknesses of the 8 is difficulty being emotionally vulnerable. And that is 100% me. So it's something that I'm working on and spend a lot of time writing on and thinking about in my journal. My journal helps me focus on my life and really think about what's working and what's not working, which then sets me up to take action in the right direction throughout the day. Number 4, I work out. This is definitely one of the things on the list that has fallen to the wayside this year. I've always been fairly active throughout most of my adult life because I was a Marine, but less since moving to the DC area where I now have a lengthy commute. And then add in the business where there's never a shortage of to-dos, and it's become really easy to push off getting my daily workouts in. But I've committed to making my health a priority and getting my workouts in first thing in the morning. Now, I've tried working out at various times of day, and I've found that I'm the most consistent if I work out either first thing in the morning or immediately after work. But I also know that it's important to get your priorities done earlier in the day. That way, you're more likely to actually make it happen. So that means that I'm gonna work out first thing in the morning before my son wakes up. We have a home gym, so it's really easy for me to just head down to the basement and get a full workout in. In the summer months, I'll also go out for a run around the neighborhood. When I start my day out with a workout, I feel a real sense of accomplishment and I have more energy throughout the day. Number 5, I plan my day. At the beginning of every day, I like to take 15 minutes to review my schedule and set my priorities for the day. I used to have really long to-do lists where my goal would be to squeeze in as much as I could every single day. But then I'd get to the end of the day and see this long list of things that I didn't get to, and then it would make me feel like I didn't get anything done. So now I have a big 3. Each day, I choose 3 tasks that will be my focus for that day. The idea is that if the only thing I get done that day are those 3 things, then that would be a highly successful day. So those 3 tasks are the ones that I prioritize throughout the day. And if I get those 3 done, then I'll add, say, 2 more tasks to the list to be my focus for the rest of the day. Planning my day this way helps me decide in advance exactly how I want to spend my time, and it makes it easier for me to say no to the less urgent things that tend to come up throughout the day that might have otherwise taken me off task. I do this whether I'm working in my day job or working on my business in the evenings or on weekends. At work, I use my office calendar to block out times during my day where I'm working on specific projects. That way, my coworkers won't schedule meetings during those times, and I can have dedicated time to focus on the task without interruptions. After sharing some of the things that are an essential part of my mornings, it's pretty clear that I'm a huge fan of self-improvement and lifelong learning, including learning more about the world around me. Special thanks to CuriosityStream for sponsoring today's video. I recently watched an amazing documentary on CuriosityStream about the Norwegian fjords. Did you know that over 10 billion herring overwinter in the fjords every year? CuriosityStream is a subscription streaming service made for those of you who have no shame in your nerd game, with over 2,400 documentaries and nonfiction titles from some of the world's best filmmakers, including exclusive originals. CuriosityStream is the world's first streaming service that focuses on our lifelong quest to learn, explore, and understand. CuriosityStream is offering a special promotion just for TFD viewers. Get your first 30 days completely free if you sign up using the link and promo code in the description box during the sign-up process. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell, and tune in here every single Friday for another new episode of The Lifestyle Fix. See you next week.